Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode and the final episode of City of Champions. It is the final episode because we have achieved our goal. We won our 13th World Championship in our, I guess this is our 14th season. Is that correct? I believe it's our 14th season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep. So we won our 15th season, I guess. 13 titles in 15 seasons. So we have accomplished what we set out to accomplish. We did not four-peat with the Minnesota Timberwolves. However, we lost in the... Where did we lose in? We lost in... Did we lose in the finals? Yeah, we lost in the finals in 5 to the Atlanta Hawks. Not a particularly close series. We played well coming out of the West. We swept Utah, but we lost in 5. So we'll take a quick look at the team. We'll take a look at the history as the game allows, and then we will call it game over for the T-Wolves. So Radko Lipichev just with a great season. He was our first round pick a couple years ago. Set a career high in points, 24 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He was phenomenal for us. Xavier Brown was probably our best draft pick. He was the 20th overall pick and has turned into a legit player. We drafted him back here in 2028. He came off the bench, and you can see just better and better and better. Bit of a down season this season, but still only 27 years old, poised to have a phenomenal career as a guy who does it all. 20 points, almost 7 assists, and almost 5 rebounds a game. Dale Dyer, we re-signed him to a long-term deal in the offseason, and he put up almost 20 points, 5 assists, and 4.5 rebounds a game. Another mid-first-round selection for us. We had some real success in the draft. Lipichev, Brown, Dyer, McCullough, they were all draft picks, and they were our 4 best players this year. McCullough was our starting center this year as we had moved on from, oh man, I've already forgotten his name, but we had moved on, so Alfred McCullough became our starting center, almost 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 4 assists. I mean, stat stuffer, box score stuffer, right? So McCullough. Wayne Long was our quote-unquote big free agent acquisition. If we were continuing on, I probably would look to move the deal. I got to get better at finding kind of those role players rather than spending the money just to spend the money. He averaged 10 points, 9 rebounds. He was okay, but not great. We brought Jaren Jackson and Adam Holden back. They both played really well. Alvin Jackson was one of our first-round picks a year ago. So his second full season. Points were up, rebounds were up. Looks to be a pretty good depth player. Same with Damian Kosick. He was one of our picks last year. 7 points, 3 rebounds, 2.5 assists. So these two guys, along with Jeremy Thomas, who was our first-round pick this past year. The team is set up from a depth perspective. We have Jackson, Kosick, and Thomas. We would just need to add to our forward depth, I guess. Let's see. What can we look at history-wise? Player history? Who is our leading scorer? Can you... Oh, this just goes year by year. Okay. How is this thing broken? Oh, it's broken down by year. Oh, okay. Jameel Ashburn, he was the one that we moved on from. He went to Sacramento this past offseason, and he was fine. He was good for them. But we moved on from him. Can we go under player records and find it? I want to look at like league team leaders and stuff. Career. Points. Kevin Garnett, still the all-time leading scorer in Minnesota Timberwolves history. Karl Anthony Towns, number 2. John Morant was 3rd all-time. Xavier Brown is 4th. Xavier Brown is 4th all-time in points scored for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Adam Gordon on there at 6th. There's Jameel Ashburn at 10. So Xavier Brown, a fantastic draft pick for us. Single game. John Morant, 58 points. Look at those leading scores, man. John Morant has, 9 of the top 12 in team history. He was the one that turned our franchise around. We picked up Morant and proceeded to win multiple titles in a row. Draft history. Let's look at that. If we go back to who was our very first draft pick, we didn't have one in 2021. 2022. That's right. We had Doylan Bike, who was our very first pick overall. He's now 32 years old. Was okay. I mean, he wasn't as good as I thought he was going to turn out to be, but he was a reasonable, a good scorer, good defense. Just kind of got overshadowed. And then Craig Norwood had multiple stays with Minnesota. You can see 22 through 2025. We brought him back in 2029, 2031, and 2032. So he played for us multiple times. Troy Day and Devin Weber, these were both busts. Ooh, this was a bad draft. Number 4 overall pick was a 2-star. Ugh. Josh Bonner was a good pick at 29 overall. Very good defensively, good rebounder. Can't score, but just signed to a ridiculous contract. If his contract had been less, he would have been a nice role player. All right, so that's Timberwolves. So what did we had? We had 6 titles with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's 6 of the 13 go to the T-Wolves. Next, we're going to go to the team that we had the least amount of success with. And this is the reason that I'm stopping now, because the Minnesota Wild just absolutely frustrated me to no end. And because of that, I've decided not to do it anymore. Look at our record. We were 69-10-3 in the regular season, and we lost in the first round of the playoffs. So if 69-10-3 isn't going to get it done, I don't know what is. I've just about had it. So at any rate, we were just an absolute machine. 1, 2, 3, 4 players with more than 30 goals, 5, 6, 7, 8 with more than 20, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 with at least 10, and then 3 more with 8 or 9. It was, we were just unstoppable during the regular season. I made one signing in free agency, and it was for Brant Clark. Picked up an offensive-minded defenseman. And yeah, we were really, really good. Yefimовich had another great season. He was hurt at the end of the year, because of course he was. Caswell had another 40-goal season for us. McKinney was a really nice pick. I mean, we did a really good job in free agency and in the draft when we had the opportunity. Like Kyle Locke was the number 1 overall pick, and he is only 22 years old, and he's already probably the best defenseman in the NHL. We drafted Lang. We drafted Kuznetsov. We drafted Kiviharu. So we did a really good job. We traded for Boswell, and he wasn't particularly good this year, but that was a deal that we made for like a second-round pick or something. So I think we did a pretty good job here. We just couldn't get over the hump. You look at our records, I mean, over 100 points, like 12 straight seasons or something stupid like that. Just couldn't figure it out. If we look at not leaderboards, let's look at player index. Kirill Kaprizov, the all-time leading scorer. He got us through the first dozen seasons or so. Cale Makar ended 4th all-time in scoring for Minnesota. He was another one. He was the first real major deal that we made, was bringing in Makar. Philip Ekberg is already 5th in scoring, and he's only played for 6 years. So a lot of these records are going to get broken by players that are currently on the team, as there's a lot of young talent here with Minnesota. But we just couldn't get it done with the Wild, and that is a tad frustrating, but it is what it is. So let's now move on to let's look at the Minnesota Vikings, if I can pull that up. That's fine. The Minnesota Vikings. We had a really good season in Minnesota. I thought it was going to be another potential World Series or Super Bowl for us, but unfortunately we lost in the NFC title game in overtime to the Philadelphia Eagles, 41-35. It was a very, very good year for Minnesota, as we went 13-4, seventh in points per game, fourth in points per game allowed. It was a really good season for us, really good regular season for us. We just couldn't get it done in the postseason. I'm not showing you guys the drafts because the drafts don't matter. I guess I could show you the draft for Minnesota because some of those players did actually play. So the biggest takeaway in the draft was we drafted Richard Tovar. I'll show you. I guess he was our second round pick. Our top pick was, who was our top pick? Right here, Wayne Gunn. We've drafted him at the end of the first round, only 73 overall, but developmental type guy. Richard Tovar was a second round pick, 91 overall. So we ended up trading our starting running back, and we ran with Tovar and Lujan as our two running backs, and it was a great combination. So we had a pretty good draft. Adam Stout, another developmental type in the second round, only 21 years old. Dominic Marchand, we drafted him in the 7th round, 73 overall in the 7th round. I don't think any of these guys really got a lot of playing time. No, but it looks like a pretty solid draft if I had continued this. From a stat perspective, Larson had a down season compared to his previous. I'm still, I signed him to a contract extension, which you see here. Not there, here. 3 years, about $30 million. And it wasn't, again, it was a down season for him. His rating was down almost 10 points. He threw fewer touchdowns, fewer yards, threw for more interceptions. So it wasn't a particularly great year for him, but he's still young enough, and that contract is reasonable. So had I continued, it would have been fine. Our running backs were terrific. Lujan and Tovar combined for 1,600 yards between them. We finally have a fullback who can get the job done. Earl Wyant is just a machine at fullback. 5 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns, along of 49 out of your fullback. You love it. So our running game is just fantastic. Our passing game is okay. Newsome retired, so we had to replace him. Abdul Buckingham stepped in and at 21 years old had his first 100 reception season, 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. If I were continuing with this, I would look to add a stud wide receiver to this. If I ran with Buckingham and a stud wide receiver, I'd be happy with that. Fitzgerald, we traded for him, and then he proceeded to get hurt. I was hoping going to be that guy, but he got hurt. 86 overall. You could see he signed super long term, so he was going to be that guy, but he got hurt. Craig Davis had another good year for us. He was really, really good for us over his career. Oops. You can see just at least somewhere between 65 and 80 catches every single season. So very steady at tight end. Defensively, Omar Sumner, I assume this is going to be his last season. He's 34 years old. His ratings have started to drop. One of our first draft picks and has been with us since the beginning. 219 career sacks for Omar Sumner. Just an absolutely Hall of Fame, one of the best ever careers. Only had 1 defensive touchdown in his entire career, but another 19 sacks for the 34-year-old Sumner. It was a pretty good season. A pretty good season defensively. Good season offensively. We just couldn't get it done in the playoffs. So that's it for Minnesota. That's it for the Vikings, I should say. And last but not least, we are going to switch over to the team that ended up breaking the record for us, and that is the Minnesota Twins. We defeated the Washington Nationals in the World Series 4-3, giving the Twins 5 World Series championships in this playthrough. We won our first one back in 2026. Then we won 3 in a row in 31, 32, and 33. Missed a couple of years and then won it in 36. We have had 8 straight 100-win seasons, and this team was probably as much fun as any team that I've had so far. We won 109 games. Again, our offense and our pitching staff was just lights out. Look at our bullpen ERA, 2.33 bullpen ERA for the year. We made Tony Henriquez a second baseman, and oh boy, did that pay off. A rookie campaign, 857 OPS, 6.1 WAR, played great defense, was just sat in the number 2 spot in our lineup and just raked. Bobby Morales, his second season was an unmitigated success, 7.5 WAR, led the league in average on-base percentage, slugging, OPS, walks, WAR, was just fantastic at only 22. So Henriquez is 24, Morales is 22. Two of our main players going forward are super young. Kevin Bowler, one of our draft picks, won 21 games. So that's nice to see. You like to see homegrown talent doing stuff like that. We traded for Frank De La Paz. We traded Eric Robbins and Bobby Esquivel for him. So our starting second baseman last year, Esquivel, did he not play in the majors at all last year? He didn't. He must have been hurt. That's bizarre. Was he hurt? Oh yeah, he broke his elbow. Oof. So added to our pitching staff there with Frank De La Paz. He's kind of a douche, but he was really good. Almost 6.5 WAR. John D'Amato, we signed him long term, which is one of the things I talked about wanting to do. 16-8 with a 3.86, and then Ricky Munoz is just a machine. 358 strikeouts, almost 9 WAR, 358 Ks, only 216 innings, 17-4. He is signed. This is the end of his contract, so they would have to re-sign him if they wanted him. So yeah, we won 5 titles with the Twins. We won 6 titles with the Timberwolves. We won 2 titles with the Vikings, and we won no titles with the Minnesota Wild. So those Wild fans out there, I apologize. We couldn't get it done for you, but for everybody else, it was pretty successful. 13 titles in 15 seasons. I know these videos didn't get as many views as some of my other ones because we didn't really kind of go into the micro level with a lot of these teams. It was more of a macro overview, so it was harder to get into it. I had fun, though, because it gave me kind of something to do in my downtime. But that's going to do it. So, those of you who were involved, I hope you enjoyed it. We got a couple of weeks here until Out of the Park 23 comes out. I'll have a video coming out next week where we kind of go over the teams that I am deciding between, and I'll have you guys give me a hand with that. So that's going to do it. So that is the City of Champions. The goal was 13 titles in 18 seasons. We picked up 13 titles in 15 seasons. So I would say that was a success. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I appreciate you watching. I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye.